Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I have a quick minute and I thought, why not just do a quick video? Someone just suggested the other day that I just do like a 15 to 10 minute video where I just get straight to the absolute brutal truth of a sign. And they asked me about Sagittarius, as so often people do. And I had a minute, so I thought I would just do a quick one. This is a video that is the cold, hard truth of Sagittarius. So I hope that you don't find it too confronting. It's not my intention to upset you, but quintessentially it is what it is. So yeah, humans, we really are just fractals of source expressing ourselves in different ways. And as much as we think that we are really separate from each other, we're really, really not. And yeah, over a period of time, like over the past, 10 years of my life, as I've studied astrology more and more and more, I've really started to really take a good, closer, harder look at all of the types and patterns of energy and the types and patterns of people and their psychology. And for the most part, it is quite easy to really predict another person's behavior when you start to really break down their chart, look at where everything's positioned and their relationship with other signs. It's really quite complicated, and it is mathematics, it is, but at the end of the day, the universe is made of numbers. So I think a lot of you moving into the Sag part of the video is that, life is a series of relationships. And obviously our relativity and our connectivity to each other, how we pursue relationships is really, really key to having a life, really. I mean, the quality of your relationships is the quality of your life. So to me, astrology is, and not fluffy bunny astrology where we just talk about bullshit. I mean, like really looking at why they behave the way that they do, why they think the way that they do. It's just such an incredible, basically like an arsenal of weapons you can have, or just such a deeper understanding about how to approach someone. And that's the thing that I've been often thinking about, and I want to share it in this message, is that we've got to stop trying to love someone and start trying to understand someone. If you understood the being that is before you, then you'll know how to engage with them, interact with them, and ultimately be able to really love them, because love is integration, and we can't actually love something truly that we don't even understand. So it's the jellyfish scenario. You take the jellyfish, a little girl takes the jellyfish out of the tank because she wants to hug it, not realizing that taking it out of water would in fact be detrimental to the jellyfish. But if she understood the jellyfish, then she would know exactly what to do with it and what was in the jellyfish's best interests. So yeah, okay, now let's get on to the point of this video, is that Sagittarius, much like the Gemini, is a very hardcore sign to deal with. And I often don't come across around a lot of Sagittarians. These guys are pretty hard hitting, to be honest, and then can be quite brutal. Ultimately, their relationship is always moving, and they see stagnation or any type of coming to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, going to work, driving to work, getting to work, eating, sleeping, coming home, doing work, driving to work, coming home. This kind of monotonous pattern that a Sagittarian finds themselves in life is incredibly toxic to their soul. So any type of stagnation in the sense of complacency or predictability is really quite it's like the antimatter of a Sag. Same with the Gemini as well. If they can predict future counterparts and the way that they move or how other people interact, then they get bored and they get restless. And Sag is the restless wanderer. This is a soul that is very much about exploration, and that's exactly what they want to do. So it doesn't matter, and I don't really care what field they're in, there has to be some level of exploration going on here. and movement, because if there's no movement, then it's not going anywhere, and that's toxic. And on the astrology wheel, we know that Gemini is the opposite of Sag, but Gemini and Sag actually count across each other across the wheel, if you don't know that. And you can get a lot of the Gemini traits in Sag and a lot of the Sag in the Gemini. So the brutal hard truth of the Sag is their whole life is really much like the Aries life. It's just a series of platonic relationships that just stop, start, get a friend, be friends with them for a while, break up with them, run away from them, go to another friend, get another friend, break up that friend. Now, the truth of it is Sagittarians are not the best at finishing things that they start. And also is that they are really only happy when they are in the in-between stages of things. So when they enjoy the movement or the ride of something, it's the act of the travel, it's the act of the movement that gets them excited. It's the getting in the car and driving, turning up the music, don't know where we're going. That's the Sagittarian's soul. And it's the in-between things. So when they move from one relationship, it's the hope and promise of a better door to go through, a better world to go into, a greener pasture, a better opportunity, a better partner to date. It's always about it's not enough. It's never enough. For a darker Sagittarian soul, nothing you ever do will be enough for them. And if you were burned by a Sag, which most of you would have been at some point or will be, please know that I want you to know it wasn't you. It had nothing to do with you. Okay, you were fine the way that you are. These people are not monogamous people. These people will cheat on someone, even if it's just in their mind, even if it's just in their imagination. And that's exactly what they need. They need creativity and they need imagination. Okay, so if you're trying to build a relationship with a Sagittarian, please know that these guys are very hypocritical and they really struggle to understand commitment. It's not a commitment-based sign. Okay, so one of the things that Sagittarian struggles with, as does Gemini, is that you can't actually have when in terms of a relationship, you can't actually have two mutually exclusive counterparts of operation, like paradigms of operation that existed, that you get the benefits of both at one time. Much like, the saying goes, I want to have my cake and eat it too. They want the safety of a monogamous relationship, but they don't want to be in a monogamous relationship. So they are very contradictory. Same with the Gemini. I have to keep bringing that up a lot because it's the same type of thing that I'm saying here is what they also say. And then they hate being called out on that too, because the truth of it is very painful, but then they continue behaving the same way that they always do. And they end up breaking a lot of hearts and they just go on to the next one and the next one. And as we're getting older, I'm not going to live for 500 years. Neither are you. We don't have time for this shit. So if you're wanting to build something with someone that is a real, stable, healthy, functional, loving, caring relationship, you're going to need that person to give you a level of safety. And safety means that they're not just going to abandon you at any minute and just walk out the door and you're left in the dirt and you never hear from them again. So that's not safety. So Sagittarians are quite strategic as well, and they are very impulsive, which can be very dangerous in relationships because the hypergamy of man is that we're always looking for the bigger, better deal. It's just how we're programmed, and it ties into our genetics, but this is particularly ruthless with a Sagittarius, okay? So these guys, for the most part, really make the best of friends. They don't make the best of partners. And in a relationship dynamic, the way that a Sagittarian ultimately likes it is that hypocritical thing where they want to feel that they can leave you at any time and they have the safety to do that, but you're not allowed to leave them. If you leave them, then you'll never hear the end of it. That's kind of the manipulation that this sign ultimately will use on you. It's like, put it this way, it's like going to a movie theater and if they can't see the exit in the cinema while they're watching the movie with you, then they don't feel safe. So you've got to give them freedom. This is the key word around Sag, is that if they meet you, and I am part Sagittarius, so this is actually coming from a place of deep shadow work here, okay? So I'm being honest with you, is that they want to know where they can leave. They need to know where they can manipulate or bend or break the rules of a dynamic. And in a relationship, when you have two partners, the person who can leave the first is the person who holds the power. The person who can pull away from the other party in the relationship is the one that has the power. And this is how they hold power in relationships, by threatening to leave or just leave. And then you feel completely abandoned. So this sign is very big on ghosting, but they hate being ghosted because it makes them feel worthless. And that's part of the shadow work that Sagittarians ultimately have to do, is to learn to be patient and learn consistency and learn that you can't have safety in a relationship if you don't bring safety into a relationship. I know this is quite heavy, so cutting out what else do I know about Sagittarian, the cold hard truth, is that, they don't want someone nagging them, so you can't be calling them up. Their phone can't be blowing up all the time. They don't want to feel trapped. They don't want to feel smothered by you. So the worst thing that can happen with the Sag is that their optimism and their joyous, fun energy turns bitter, and they become very resentful towards their partners or towards life. And a nihilistic Sagittarian is a very, very sad and lost, dark thing in the world, because they will pull everyone into that with them if they have been burned. So yeah, that aspect of them is really quite upsetting. And I would advise, if, don't play games with Sagittarius. This Sagittarius ultimately is the executioner of the zodiac. So Libra is the jury, the decider. Scorpio is the judge. Sagittarian is the executioner. And there's nothing higher than truth. So they're always seeking truth. A lot of them are very attracted to the occult or spirituality or religion. A lot of them are teachers. They need an audience, basically. They love an audience. Anyone who'll care to listen to them, they need an audience. They have a tendency sometimes to enforce their opinions onto others as if it's truth. And if it's not, they get very mad. They can have a horrible temper in that regard as well. So ultimately, they need fun, and they need to meet someone where they feel that this person's limits is endless. And this is the contradictory thing. They'll push your limits so far, and after they push it to a certain point, they'll lose respect for you. And then they can't get that respect back for you because you gave and gave and gave and gave, and you never had any self-respect for yourself with them. This can happen in the sexual element of a relationship with a Sag as well. So they ultimately need exercise. Running is very important, physical exercise. These guys have great legs and great arse. They're quite big and athletic. Naturally, they are quite able and passionate with movement, any type of swimming or getting out in nature, hiking, track and field, anything like that. They're naturally gifted in that way. But they don't want to meet someone and find the bottom of them is really short. So you've got to keep them on their toes. You've got to be naughty. In the bedroom, they go for the forbidden fruit. So it's got to be dirty. It's got to be kinky. It's got to be in the mind, dirty weekends away. It's got to be, letters, notes in books, hotel visits, things like that. They can go for the taboo. That's kind of what they are. Anything that says no to them or enforces a rule on them, they rebel against that. Same as in a workplace. They hate being told what to do. So the cold hard truth is Sagittarians need to really be self-employed so that they can support themselves and make their own money for themselves. There's a bit about Sagittarian, and I hope that you've enjoyed this cold hard truth of Sag. This is the restless warrior, the restless seeker. They do mellow as they get older. The older the grape, the sweeter the fruit kind of thing. So it isn't until they get into their mid to late 30s, early 40s, and sometimes even 50s before they really start to mellow, settle down. But for the most part, a Sagittarian in their 20s is really about chasing goals, and they're very driven in that regard. So if a Sag doesn't have a destination point, then they really have no place to go. So I would stay away from a Sagittarian that's aimless. But yes, their whole life is conquest, much like the Aries, the fire sign Aries, where it's just shooting the arrow, chasing it, shooting the arrow, chasing it. And it's always the illusion that they chase of changing their external world or environment, even geographically, to try and quench a thirst or scratch an itch that's inside of them. So that's what it's like. But yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to my channel if you found this insightful. This was my cold hard truth on Sagittarian, and I will see you in the next video. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do below, and yeah, let me know. All right, bye.